Hi, my name is Ben Knight, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at the American International School here in Chennai, India. Prior to teaching here, I spent 12 years in high-poverty Title I schools in California. And my job was essentially, as a math teacher, to cover the book front to back by April to get good scores on tests. So the game has changed, obviously, since I've gotten here. At AISC, we teach the Common Core standards, and we don't use a prescribed curriculum per se. We look for resources and we develop our own to teach the standards. So I'm going to have you take a look. What I'm doing today is we're going to be practicing division with decimals using a grid. So what I did is just gave the kids a quick pre-assessment. And you want to come a little closer here? So you can see that I've kind of put them into 3 stacks. You've got some kids who have somewhat of a conceptual understanding. They're able to draw, although not with perfection. A couple of them are pretty close. A few are getting there, and then there are a couple, as you can see, who have really no concept. So what I've done is I've created differentiated assignments, 3 different ones, just in terms of complexity of the numbers we'll be using. These guys will all be working with what we call the you, y'all, we model, where the kids have time to work on their own, and then they discuss as a group, and then we debrief together. So what I'm going to do is just get them started. I would do kind of a workshop model, but it's hard to bring them down the carpet and look at the board, so I'm going to keep them at their desk for today and get them started. And I'll have 3 different groups running. I'll be working with the kids with the lowest concept of the problems down here. So I'm going to bring the kids in. They've been waiting not so patiently outside. We're going to get started. All right, let's go. All right, let's get started. So a few minutes ago, you guys took a little pre-assessment on dividing with decimals using a grid. And some of you had a little bit more success than others. But the goal is, at the end of the period, everybody is successful. So let's kind of start with some of the basics. We know that we're talking about division with decimals. And I know some of you think it's my fault because I didn't make the division sign clear enough. My apologies. Next time you take it, you will know it's a division sign, and I will make sure that they are abundantly clear today. So what we're talking about is division with decimals using a grid. I noticed that some of you guys were a lot more comfortable filling in the grid. Some of you actually just kind of went to a procedural method and were able to find a solution, or what you thought was a solution, and then tried to go backwards and fill in the grid after having done the operation. So what I want to get you guys doing is understanding the concept so that the procedure makes a lot more sense. So I want you to think of your favorite candy bar. Tell your neighbor when you think of it. Your favorite candy bar. Or tell me. You can talk. Snickers. How about Kit Kat?
Cadbury.
Cadbury's. You don't like candy?
What's that?
Well, I don't know why I keep buying you guys all this candy then. Willy Wonka. All right, so mine is a Hershey's bar. And what I like about a Hershey's bar is it's already kind of broken into pieces. And so I think there are 16 pieces. What I like to do is when I'm eating, I like to think about the fraction that I've eaten and the fraction I have left. So, like, I'll eat 1 piece, 1/16, and I'll say, what percentage is a 16th? I'll say, well, 16 goes into 100 like 6, 7 times, so I eat about 6%, and then I eat another piece, which is 2/16, which is really an 1/8, which is 12.5%. So then I have 87.5% left. Is that weird that I do that? Yeah? Anyone else do that? No? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and look at the Hershey bar, and we're going to look at it in terms of, let's pretend it's a giant Hershey bar, and it's got 100 pieces, which works really well with our base 10 system that we've talked about. So really what we've got is 10 by 10, or 10 squared, which is 100 pieces. So we've got this imaginary Hershey's bar, and it's got 100 pieces. And if you think back to the problem that we did right before, I believe it was, do you remember? 800ths divided by?
8.
I heard 0.05. Is there a better way to say that? 500ths, correct. So essentially what I'm asking you to do with this is, can you draw a picture of this here? So you might be thinking 8/10. Well, how can I draw tenths if this is broken into hundredths? But I want you to also remember that we said 8/10 is not only 8/10, but it's also equivalent to 80 hundredths. So could you draw 80 hundredths there?
Yes.
Could you draw 8/10?
Yes.
Okay. And then we know with division, dividing is kind of like sharing. It's taking away. That's why it's related to subtraction. So we've got this other piece over here, and the question would then be, can you show me what 500ths looks like? Think about that. How would you draw 500ths? Turn and talk with your neighbor.
We could use 5 squares. Like you break one square into 10 pieces. Yeah, 100 pieces and 5 of them.
How would that look different than 8/10?
That is one of the last
What would
things.
8/10 look like? So 80 of the little squares. So 80 hundredths. How many tenths would that be? So we can flip it all ways over else.
So then to go to the 1,000.
So hopefully you said, well, this would look like this. And this would look, you really could color in any 5 squares, but we'll just take these ones. The question is now, how many times can I take this size piece away from this size piece? So if I have friends who want this size piece, how many people can I give that size piece to? And that's really what the problem is asking. So today, what I'm going to have you guys do